I'd like to start today with an exercise. Imagine you are working a big game, the big game for you at whatever level you're at, whether it's a state final, playoff game, league game, middle school championship, right? You're working the game. It's a great game. Your crew is doing a great job, very competitive environment. Everything is fantastic. 4 minutes to go in the fourth period. There's a horn. It doesn't belong in the game. The ball is live. There's a horn. It's insistent. We turn around. We look at the table. And there's an irate coach complaining about something that has gone wrong in the game. We quickly realize, we may have a correctable error situation. And immediately, the sage advice comes into our head. Well, the best way to deal with correctable errors is not to have them, right? But that advice is out the window. We've got it. It's in our lap, and we need to adjudicate properly. Today, I'm going to give you guidance on how you can successfully handle correctable error situations when they arise in their game. While the advice that we're given to avoid at all costs is fantastic advice, and we absolutely want to include that in our game, we have to realize and understand that correctable errors happen. They happen at all levels. They happen in the NBA, WNBA, G League, NCAA men, NCAA women, FIBA, international competition. Correctable errors happen. And what we want to do is be comfortable in adjudicating the plays when they happen and moving our game forward. And that's what we're going to do today. Let's understand when we're dealing with correctable errors, we're dealing with something that is defined by a rule. A correctable error is a thing. There are many instances in games where we can fix something, right? The arrow was improperly set. We fix it. Our partner called an out of bounds, but did not. I provide them information that actually the ball was last touched from behind. From my angle, I saw that. Okay? We can fix things, but correctable errors themselves are defined. They are not a bookkeeping error. A bookkeeping error can be fixed at any time until the game ends. They are not an inadvertent whistle. And they are not one official providing information to another official. No, there's something that's very clearly defined by rule. Let's take a look at the correctable error rule so we have a basis of understanding. Now, the correctable error rule is probably 350 words. There's legalese. Let's try to simplify the concepts involved in the correctable error rule. We're going to correct if a rule is inadvertently set aside and results in one of 5 different things. And these 5 things, obviously, we have to know. 4 involve free throws, right? This is the majority of the rule is dealing with free throw situations. Failure to awarding something that was unmerited, having the wrong player attempt, and attempting at the wrong basket. These are our 4 free throw scenarios that are defined by rule. And our 5th one is erroneously counting or canceling a score. It's important, but it's very different. And it has different qualifications as well, right? So we're going to think about free throw scenarios, and we're going to think about erroneously counting or canceling a score. In Article 2, it must be recognized and corrected no later than during the first dead ball after the clock has properly started. 2 key components there. During the first dead ball and clock properly started. Both of those elements have to be in play, and the clock starting is a key component. In Article 3, we refer to the error is made while the clock is running and the ball is dead. Let's think about that. It must be recognized by the official before the second live ball. When do we have a situation where the clock is running and the ball is dead? There's only one scenario where that's the case, and that is after a goal has been scored. Okay? So this would refer to our erroneously canceling or counting, right? If we have a 3-point try for goal, the official fails to indicate that it was a successful 3-point try for goal, the clock continues to run, although the ball becomes dead momentarily, and then it becomes live during the throw-in. So Article 3 refers to exclusively counting or canceling a score. Article 4 talks about that, okay, if we are in a situation where we are administering something that was unmerited, and we are going to cancel the results of this, we're going to cancel the free throw, but we're also going to cancel activity that occurs. We have an unmerited free throw, player attempts. During the free throw, there is a foul by either team. It is a common foul. We ultimately determined that that was an unmerited free throw, that activity, that foul, will be canceled or rescinded unless it is a technical foul, intentional foul, or a flagrant foul. We will not cancel those. Article 5 lays out the fact that during the period when an error has been made and the recognition that we may need to correct that, during that period, all time consumed and points scored stand. We're not going to do a rewind of the clock and go back and say, well, okay, those things didn't happen, right? We're only doing that in an unmerited free throw situation where there's something that's added to the game. But we're not resetting the clock and we're not ignoring scoring. The game continues on. We evaluate the period, whether a correctable error occurred, and we move forward from there. Article 6 emphasizes the fact that if an error is corrected, we will do one of two things. We will either begin the game from merited free throws, or we will move to the point of interruption. Knowing the point of interruption becomes a very valuable part of the equation. Okay, so we've broken down Rule 210, correctable errors, and we've broken it down. There's basically two scenarios: erroneously counting or canceling a score and free throw errors. All 5 correctable error scenarios deal with one of those two things. Now, we're going to bring our sexy chart into the equation here. You've seen something like this. It exists in the rules book. It exists in training materials. And it's a visual aid that helps us make a determination. Okay? So our correctable error time frame has to be defined. Imagine a simple scenario. We are officiating in the front court. Trail official has a foul, a hand check foul for a sideline throw-in. The ball has become dead. This is where we need to know that this was actually the 7th team foul, but in fact it was only the board only showed 6 and there was no information from the table. So we are going under the assumption that there are no bonus free throws. There should have been bonus free throws. They were merited. But the ball is dead. We make the ball live by administering the throw-in. The player catches and holds the ball. The ball has become live. Basketball is played. Player passes to a teammate. The teammate shoots. Let's say they miss. The other team grabs the ball, moves down to the end of the court, and misses a shot themselves. Now our original team has the ball, but we have a horn from the table, right? The ball was dead. An error was made. The ball became live. And now we have our first dead ball after the ball was made live. This is our opportunity to correct. And if we fail to make the correction at this point and the ball becomes live again, then the window has closed. So we are erroneously doing something. The window opens. Play continues. NFHS and all levels really say we're going to give a period of time. We're going to define it as the ball becoming live and the ball becoming dead. And during that time, we can make a correction. But once it becomes live again, we're going to move on without making the correction. So having a solid understanding of dead, first live, first dead, second live is really critical to have an understanding of our window of time and our time frame. So let's move on now and talk about some sexy flowcharts here, right? Now, when we're talking about correcting a canceled goal or scoring a goal, failing to score, everything's super simple. It's super simple, right? We're either going to correct the fact that we canceled the score, or we are going to cancel the score. An official, like we say, the official fails to indicate a 3-point goal was scored. The ball becomes dead, the ball becomes live. The other team brings the ball up the court. The coach says, hey, that was a 3, that was a 3, right? The officials stop play. We're within the correctable error time frame. Yes, actually that was a 3, right? The official just erroneously failed to score the goal and indicate that it was a 3-pointer. We're within the window, and it's simple, correct or not, right? Simple. We inadvertently scored a goal when a teammate of the thrower committed basket interference. We are within the correctable error time frame, right? The team play has stopped. Coach says, hey, you scored the goal, right? It was there, correct. Yes, we erroneously scored that goal. We should have canceled that goal. It's simple, right? Our flow chart here is really easy. The error is recognized, and if it's erroneously counting or scoring a goal or canceling a goal, it's either yes or no. If it's yes, we make the correction, and if it's no, we have nothing. Super simple. Now, free throws, a lot more complicated. If we have a situation where we have stopped play due to correctable error and involves free throws, we have to go through some determinations. Did we fail to award a merited free throw? If so, then has there been a change of possession? We need to know that in terms of how to adjudicate the play. Yes or no. If it's yes, we're going to administer the free throws with no players in marked lane spaces and resume at the point of interruption. If there was no change of possession, then we're simply going to resume with the free throws that were merited. Okay? So fail to award merited free throw, yes, those are our options. Fail to award a merited free throw, no. Okay. Were unmerited free throws awarded? Yes, they were. We thought it was double bonus. The player got a second bonus free throw after missing their first. That was an unmerited free throw. It went in. Our window opens up to correct. If so, if we need to correct it, we're going to cancel that point and any activity that occurred during that unmerited free throw as well. That's if the answer is yes. And if the answer is no, then the only other option would be our counting or canceling a score. So a simple process of thinking, but relatively complex when viewed all together, right? So our initial determination is, okay, what kind of correctable error situation is it? Did we fail to award merited free throws? Did we award unmerited free throws? Did the wrong player attempt the free throw attempts, or did the player attempt at the wrong basket? All of these are correctable by rule. So the rule itself has lots of variables and leads us down a path of determination. But in the end, it's relatively straightforward. If A, then either A or B. If B, then either C or D, etc. We have a process to go through. But there are challenges with correctable error situations that we have to address. Why are correctable errors really challenging for many officials? One may be that the officials have been counseled, well, the best way to deal with correctable errors is to never have them in your game. And they work hard to do that. But they also don't necessarily work as hard to understand how to adjudicate correctable errors. So that's one possible scenario. But as a crew, when we are notified of a correctable error situation, our first order of business is to identify, okay, who has the ball now? Has there been a change of possession? And what is the point of interruption? Okay, let's take a snapshot there. And now we're going to go evaluate whether we're in the window, first of all, whether a correctable error has occurred, or are we still within the window to make the correction? Here's what's super challenging. As officials, we officiate in the moment, right? I'm officiating the players in my primary. I'm looking at the on-ball matchup. That defender is legal. That ball handler is legal. Here comes a screen. The screen was legal. I'm officiating in real time. Off ball, I'm officiating this, I'm officiating that. All is well. That's how we're trained. That's how the game works. That's how our officiating works. Now, the horn sounds. Hey, ref, that last foul was the 7th foul. Okay, now we have to replay the game since that interruption occurred in our mind. That's hard. That's hard. We just have to recognize that that's hard, and we may need to do it as a crew. We may need to get information from our scorekeeper if necessary, but this is a challenging thing to officiate, let's say, a minute of basketball, and then think, well, what happened a minute ago? That's just not how we're trained, and it's super challenging to do. But our first order of business is this a correctable error situation? Sometimes the coach will jump at it and say, hey, that last throw-in, it was an alternating possession throw-in. You gave it to the wrong team. Is that a correctable error? No, it's not. Or we should have shot bonus free throws that last time down. Is that a correctable error situation? Yes, it is. So that's our first order of business. We've taken a snapshot on the court of what our situation is, but we've identified that this is a correctable error situation. Now we have to figure out, well, are we within the window, the time frame that's been defined by rule to make the correction? This can be the hard part. Many things have happened along the way, and we have to see, gain information to make that happen. So we have to judge whether the time frame has passed, and we need to be aware that there can be extreme time frames, right? The foul occurs at the end of the period. With 2 seconds remaining, there's a foul at the end of the first period. The scoreboard says there are 16 fouls. We inbound the ball, last second shot, no good. Players go to their benches. The table, hey, ref. Actually, that was the 7th foul. Okay? Now, maybe a minute has passed when they tell us that, right? So in real time, imagine the same scenario occurs at the end of the second period. Teams go to halftime. We come out after halftime. We're now like 7 or 8 minutes later, and we get that same information. So we can have a lot of time can pass where we have to evaluate whether we're still within the time frame in real time. We can also have situations on the court where we should have shot bonus free throws, but we administer a throw-in. Team inbounds the ball. They attempt to try. It misses. The other team grabs the rebound, go down to the other end. They attempt to try. It misses. We come down to the other end. The team runs their offense patiently for, a good 30 seconds. Attempt to try, and it misses. Team's dribbling up the court, and now we're presented with a situation. Man, a lot of water has passed under the bridge in that situation. And that's going to be really hard to rewind potentially, but that's what we need to do. So we need to be aware of extreme time frames being possible, and we have to know status. We have to know status. Being a master of status is a critical component in being a basketball official. We need to know when a ball becomes live and when a ball becomes dead. We need to know when team control changes in terms of whether a change of possession has occurred to properly adjudicate plays. But live ball, dead ball is critical. Critical, right? Masters of status always. Let's take at some lessons that we can bring to our game. We want to ensure that correctable error avoidance is baked into our skill set, right? we want to have our skill set on the court automatically be a defense against correctable errors occurring in our game. And what are some of the attributes that we would want to bring to avoid them? We want to have attention to detail. We want to be great communicators with our table crew, both in pre-game environment, letting them know what we need from them about when we're potentially going to be in bonus, etc. We want to be aware when team fouls are approaching bonus, and we want to communicate that with our partners. So an attention to detail would be step one. Communication. 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 As a crew, communication with our table crew. Both important. Partner, we're in the bonus down here. On the next one, bonus. Bonus both ways. A double bonus down here, a single bonus, whatever. But we're communicating as a crew. We're prepared when the free throw situations arise. Our spot of the foul mechanics need to be on point. In correctable error situations, you will often see spot of the foul mechanics being a potential source of the problem. At the spot of the foul, we need to take care of business. We need to identify who committed the foul. We also potentially may need to identify who our resulting shooter will be in a shooting foul situation so that we don't get our shooters mixed. As a non-calling official, when our partner calls a foul, we have responsibilities as well. We need to know whether it's clear who our shooter is. And if there's any doubt about who our shooter is or what the foul call was, we need to be proactive and identify that with our partner. Hey, partner, who's our shooter? Right? Oftentimes in a rebounding situation, in a bonus setting, right? Everybody's watching the ball. I'm officiating the ball, but my partner off ball has a defensive foul, let's say bumping a cutter or on a rebounding action. But it's not clear who the player is who should be shooting the resulting free throws, right? Also, attention to detail. Foul occurs. We're going to shoot bonus free throws. Players go to their benches for a timeout, identifying who our shooter is when we come back. These are all of the attention to detail that if we bring them into and bake them into our approach to officiating, then the window of opportunity for correctable errors closes smaller, and smaller. And that's what we want to do. And our reporting mechanics, of course, need to be very clear, and our relationship with our scorer needs to be very strong. We've talked about it pre-game. When we're in bonus, I need this or this. When we're approaching bonus, when we get to 6, let me know, right? Verbally tell me, etc., or tell my partner. And simply game awareness, right? All of these, attention to detail and all of these things are baked in, but game awareness baked in. Game awareness about, is there any uncertainty about what's going to happen next? Is something going off, a little alarm bell that says, wait a minute, we might have the wrong shooter. Or wait a minute, this is 1-on-1, not double bonus, right? We want to listen to those, and we want to be aware in our game so that situations don't sneak up on us. And also free throw mechanics and communication, a really important component, right? As I often say, when we are administering free throws, potentially only one player is playing basketball, the shooter. And we have 9 players standing around waiting till the second free throw, let's say. This is a natural time for us to have a little me time and disconnect from the game potentially. But we need to have great communication, right? We go to the table, we report 2 free throws. We turn to our partner, 2 free throws. Our partner, I got you, 2 free throws, right? We have that communication. If we're working a 3-person game, our other official, 2 free throws. We're all on the same page, right? It's a great way for us to stay connected as a crew. So free throw mechanics and communication, a key spot as well for us to reduce those windows where a correctable error can occur. We want to avoid and prevent correctable errors. That is our goal, It's what we absolutely want to do. Correctable errors don't make our game better. Correctable errors are going to lead to potentially conflict. A coach may be extremely upset that his team was not awarded free throws, and you're saying the correctable error time frame has closed, so I don't get my free throws, right? You guys are screwing up my game, right? Conflict. We want to avoid that. We don't want correctable error situations in our game, but what we want is, as officials, when they arise, which they invariably will, that it's strictly a matter of making an analysis of, is it a correctable error by rule? Is it within the correctable error time frame? How do we administer, and how do we move on? We need to know how to evaluate the situation and what we're looking to evaluate. Dead ball, live ball, dead ball, live ball. And we need to know how to make the correct ruling. And that ruling will involve some rules knowledge. Okay? In this situation, there had been a change of possession. The point of interruption is here. The player will attempt their free throws with the lane cleared, and we will resume the game here, etc., etc. We need to be savvy and smart about what happens next based on what has occurred, and know how to proceed, and also how to successfully manage through the rocky waters that are the correctable error situation. We also have to recognize as a crew, right? We had a correctable error. We came together. We determined the ruling, etc., right? It's really critical when we're in this situation, when we're in any situation where we're putting a ruling into the game that is non-intuitive, we're going to have to explain it, etc., that we make the ruling. This is the ruling. This is how we're going to proceed. And then we're moving forward. We don't want unanswered questions or did we consider that, or should we have gone to that spot, or we don't want any of that carry over. So we need to be direct, and we need to make a ruling, present the ruling, and move our game along. Thank you for joining me today for the Masterclass on correctable errors. It's a part of the game. We want to prevent as much as possible, but we want to be comfortable with adjudicating correctly so that when it happens in our game, and we know that it will happen in our game, despite all of our preventative attempts, it will happen in our game, and we need to be able to adjudicate properly with confidence and strength and certainty so that our game can move forward and we can have a great ball game. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Greg Austin with abetterofficial.com. Now would be a great chance to like, subscribe, and notify so that you don't miss out on any of our new content, including live streams, so we can all get better together. We have additional video content for you here, including the playlist about correctable errors and our basketball rules expert episode about correctable errors. Take care.